When you think of Saigon, what is the very first thing that comes to mind? For most people, it is this immediate, overwhelming rush of energy. It is the symphony of thousands of motorbikes, the neon signs, the street vendors calling out, and this sense of a city that is constantly rushing headfirst into the future. It is exhilarating, sure, but it can also be incredibly exhausting.
It absolutely can. But what if I told you there is a place right in the middle of all that chaos where the city seems to take a deep, quiet breath? A place where the volume gets turned down, the temperature drops by a few degrees, and the passage of time suddenly feels incredibly slow and gentle.
That sounds almost mythical in a city of 9 million people. Where exactly are we talking about?
We are talking about Lê Duẩn Boulevard. It is this beautiful green corridor that stretches right through the heart of District 1. If you look at a map, it is almost like a green bridge connecting some of the city's most iconic historical landmarks. It runs from the lush, shaded expanse of the Botanical Gardens, right past the historic Independence Palace, and down toward the red bricks of Notre Dame Cathedral.
I know that stretch well, and you are right. The moment you step onto Lê Duẩn, the physical sensation changes. The air feels different. A large part of that has to do with the massive canopy overhead, doesn't it?
Exactly. Those grand, historic trees are like the natural architecture of the street. They have been there for decades, growing tall and wide, arching over the roadway to create this continuous vault of green leaves. On a hot Saigon afternoon, when the sun is beating down on the concrete, walking under that canopy feels like stepping into an air-conditioned room, but with a fresh breeze. It is a physical shield from the elements, but also a psychological shield from the city's frantic pace.
That psychological aspect is so interesting. Why do you think a simple street design can have such a profound effect on our state of mind? You walk down other streets in Saigon, and you are constantly on high alert, watching out for traffic, navigating crowded sidewalks. But on Lê Duẩn, you instantly relax.
It comes down to space and intention. The sidewalks on Lê Duẩn are unusually wide, clean, and uncluttered. There's a sense of order and breathability that you do not find in the narrower, commercial alleys. When you have physical space to walk without constantly dodging obstacles, your mind stops scanning for threats. You transition from a state of survival and navigation to a state of observation and reflection. You actually start looking up at the sky instead of down at your feet.
It is like a form of active meditation just by walking. And it is fascinating how this street serves as a transition zone. You have these massive high-pressure business districts on either side, filled with glass skyscrapers and corporate offices. Yet right here, you have people just taking their time. It is a contrast that makes you think about the value of slow spaces in modern cities.
It really does. In urban planning, we often talk about the economic efficiency of space. How many cars can a street hold? How many shoppers can a sidewalk accommodate? But we rarely measure the emotional value of a street. Lê Duẩn is a prime example of how a city needs quiet zones to remain livable. It acts as a pressure valve. Without spaces like this where people can decompress, the sheer density of urban life would become overwhelming.
And that decompression often leads people to look for a place to sit down and just exist for a while. The cafe culture along this boulevard and its side streets seems to reflect that exact philosophy. They are not like the loud, flashy cafes you see in other trendy districts.
No, they are much more understated. The cafes here tend to embrace a very minimalist, warm aesthetic. They feature large glass windows, natural wood, and soft lighting. They are designed not to distract you, but to give you a frame through which to watch the world go by. You can sit there with a traditional Vietnamese iced coffee or a smooth espresso and just watch the shadows of the leaves shift across the pavement. It is an invitation to do absolutely nothing, which is a rare luxury these days.
It really is. We live in a world that equates constant activity with worth. If you are not working, you should be consuming. If you are not consuming, you should be creating content. But sitting in a cafe on a quiet street, just watching the day drift, feels almost rebellious. It is a quiet protest against the cult of busyness.
That is a beautiful way to put it. It is a rebellious act of self-care. And what is interesting is how this slow energy transitions as the day ends. When the sun starts to set, the street does not suddenly wake up and become a noisy nightlife hub. Instead, it transitions into this very intimate, cozy dining scene. The small restaurants tucked away in the side streets off the boulevard focus on privacy and comfort.
I have noticed that. The dining experience there feels very personal. It is the kind of place where you go to actually talk to the person across from you, rather than shouting over loud music. The lighting is low, the tables are spaced out, and the food is prepared with a lot of care. It feels like a secret shared between friends.
It does. And that brings us back to the history of the street itself. Lê Duẩn has witnessed so much of Saigon's transformation. It has seen political shifts, historical parades, and the rapid modernization of the country. It has been a stage for major historical events, yet today, its primary role is to offer peace. There is a profound irony in that. A street that once saw the march of history is now a place where you go to forget about the passage of time.
It makes you wonder about the layers of memory embedded in these places. The very trees we walk under today were there during some of the most turbulent times in the city's history. They stood silent then, and they stand silent now, offering shade to a completely different generation of people. It gives you a sense of perspective. Our daily worries, our rush to get to the next meeting, our anxieties about the future, they all seem a bit smaller when you look up at a tree that has stood there for a century.
Absolutely. Nature has a way of grounding us in the present moment, and perhaps that is the ultimate lesson of Lê Duẩn. Peace isn't something we have to travel far to find. We don't need to escape to the countryside or climb a mountain to find tranquility. Sometimes it is just a matter of changing our relationship with the city we already live in. It is about choosing the slow route instead of the shortcut.
It is about recognizing that even in the most fast-paced environments, there are always pockets of stillness waiting to be discovered. We just have to be willing to slow down enough to notice them. If you rush through Lê Duẩn in a taxi, you miss the magic. But if you walk it, you experience a completely different Saigon.
So, to everyone listening, the next time you find yourself caught up in the endless rush of your daily routine, take a moment to look for your own green canopy. Whether you are in Saigon or halfway across the world, try to find that one street, that one park, or that one quiet corner where you can step off the fast lane. Treat yourself to a slow walk, enjoy a warm cup of coffee, and just let the world spin without you for a little while. You might be surprised by how much you find when you stop looking for the next thing.